So I had a discussion in the cockpit with two colleagues. One was the captain in training, and the other was the instructor, me, the co-pilot, in March of this year, which would be 2017. It got unpleasant, actually nasty, and I decided to go to the company doctor, and I basically said that it was not possible for me to fly anymore, knowing the Earth is flat while nobody else knows or wants to know. They even get violent when you want a discussion about our gyroscopes, etc. Not really sure of what will happen next. I live in the Netherlands, where flat Earth is not really known, just by a few people. I get lonely because of that. Anyway, if I can be of help, kind regards, Lydia. Is it okay if I say your full name?
Yeah, sure.
And it's Lydia, Ouwersloot, which is pronounced as?
Ouwersloot.
Ouwersloot. So Lydia Ouwersloot from the Netherlands. Let's start from the beginning. How did you first get into flat Earth? How did you first start looking into it?
Yeah, well, actually, I was just since 2003. I was looking into the vaccine business because my son, he's now 13. He got very ill from the vaccination. Ooh. And that was really bad. He had a how do you call that? Brain.
Like
injury.
Yep, sure.
So that's how I got, onto the internet at 2003. And I was reading about a lot and figuring things out. And then I got into all the conspiracies.
Yep.
And I also I'm busy on Pinterest, you know that?
Sure.
Yeah. And there I saw this thing on, and it was actually with a gyroscope.
Sure.
So, of course, that appealed to me because I thought, well, we work with gyroscopes, a flat Earth, what is this?
Yeah.
So, I was not, discarding it right away because of, I have a very open mind to everything. So I thought, well, just read and watch a lot of videos after that. And then, I didn't know anything about, I always thought Einstein was a genius. And
sure.
And so that's what I always thought. And
how long have you been in the airline industry?
Actually, I got my license in 91.
Wow, long time.
So, yeah. So I've been with the company that I'm at now, which is actually the best in Holland. There are not so many, but
right.
They're a very good company, and I'm with them for 22 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you start poking around inside your company? Did you were there
that's what I did.
Friends of yours?
Yeah, so I was just, because, there are lots of things that we are taught about, the spinning Earth. And I told to my colleagues, because, of course, you think about it, but then you just discard it, about how it is possible that the atmosphere spins with the globe. And then, of course, that might be gravity. And then it says, then you have to, it has to spin faster at a higher altitude because there's no gradual how do you say that difference,
right?
So I thought, that's kind of strange. And also the speed at which the Earth should spin around the equator, I thought, that's almost the speed of sound, so that's kind of strange. And then also when you fly, let's say, from Johannesburg to Amsterdam, we don't have to account for the difference, and also not because it spins then at a different rate.
Sure.
And it doesn't also, we don't also have to account for the difference in altitude that it spins. So
yeah.
I thought, this is so strange. Actually, I told the other day to stewardess, because she has an open mind, and now I have to work on the ground. I said, actually, I'm a little bit ashamed of, believing all this shit, and I should have, questioned before, because my IQ isn't actually good enough to, question how does a gyroscope work actually? Because it does not, measure the gravity.
Sure.
Then, of course, when I also saw the movies from Eric Dubé about the rising horizon.
Yep.
And I thought, well, yeah, that's true. And we do fly at 40,000 feet, 41,000 feet sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I've been. This is now almost a year going on that I was, that I started looking for the curve, let's say.
Yeah.
And of course, I couldn't find it. And I saw the horizon, rising with us, and it was flat wherever I looked, and I thought, well, shit, why did I, didn't see this before? And then I started questioning in the cockpit, do you know that the atmosphere spins at the same speed as the speed of sound at the equator? And then I get this strange look on their faces, whenever I would ask something like that. But it bothered me so much that I thought, well, this has to, go out there. And I thought, well, you can just discuss these things, but obviously not. So
so when you started questioning with, and I appreciate the fact that you were bold enough to talk to your co-pilots and the other people that are out there and see what's going on. Did anyone respond favorably at all, or did everybody just look at you like you had a bug on your face?
Yeah, that's the last thing. Yeah,
that was pretty much it.
Yeah, that's just the way it is, and that's why it went nasty the last time, because then we were with the three in a cockpit. I'm the co-pilot, actually. I should have been a captain, I know, but I'm just a mom, and that's what I prefer to do. So we don't get pressed to go to be captain. So I always enjoyed. I only work 50%, so I have time enough to raise my own children.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I'm still a co-pilot. But we were with the three of us in the cockpit, and the captain, he was in training, and the instructor was on the jump seat. And we had a night stop in Zurich, and the last day that we actually flew from Zurich to Amsterdam, they said, well, did you actually mean those things that you said about flat Earth and everything? I said, yes, I do. And they say, well, we think you are retarded. And
they didn't actually say that, did they?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and you are, how do you call that?
Grounded?
Labiel. I don't know what that is in English, actually. But it's like you are mentally unstable.
Oh, no, that's
like
pretty, yeah. So you're kind of, so who said this to you?
That actually said the instructor said that to me. He said,
really?
well, actually, yeah, because I did not go out to dinner with them because I could already, sense that there was no match between the three of us.
Right.
So I did not go out with dinner with them at the night stop. And he said, well, we had a discussion between the two of us about you. And we think you are, retarded, but then the Dutch word for that, and mentally unstable. So I said, well, if you think like that, and we only had like 20 minutes left or so, I suggest that you come sit in my seat, because I knew he was, an instructor, and he could sit in both seats, because as an instructor, you need to be able to, sit in both seats. So I said, well, you better sit here, because I'm not going to fly any longer with you guys.
Really?
Yeah. I said, and I'm also not leaving this cockpit, because I think it's not fair that the two of you have a discussion behind my back. I mean, how low can you go?
Okay, so I want to break this down for whoever might be listening to this. Okay, so you're flying from where to where?
From Zurich to Amsterdam.
Zurich to Amsterdam, and you were bringing up the topic, and the other two pilots that are in the cockpit, I know how it goes. I've known some pilots to where normally when you land, whoever is the team goes out for dinner, and sometimes the cabin crew or the flight attendants sometimes they come along too. It's like, let's go out for dinner, but you could tell already that these guys were not having any of that, and so you basically gave up your co-pilot seat. Said, you know what, you can fly the plane. At this point, and he sat there, and you so what? You just sat in the other seat, and everyone just shut up. Nobody said.
I sat in the jump seat. Yeah, and everybody was quiet. Yeah, so they landed, and I sat in the jump seat. And I said, well, you know, guys, we really get a lot of training with our company about how to communicate amongst each other, because lots of errors happen when the communication in the cockpit is not working out. So we get a lot of training about that. I said, well, guys, all the things that we discussed yesterday, because I don't know how the topic came up, but we discussed about those trainings, about the things we shouldn't do. You both did. Like, we call that OMA. The O is for oordelen, that is to judge. The M is for mening, that's opinion, to have an opinion. And A is for aanname, and that means to assume. So I said, well, those things you both did without even questioning me. You just, you know.
Their natural reaction was to think it's like, she's stupid. So, you know, flat Earth is ridiculous, so we're going to judge you right here and right now.
Yeah. So I did not even have, you did not even ask me one question. Like, I mean, I was educated the way you were. I mean, and that's what I told him. I said, well, I'm probably smarter than the both of you together, because I probably am.
Could be.
But that's a little bit,
I know.
Call it? Yeah, whatever. But
a little egotistical, but that's okay.
I was mad also, of course.
Yeah.
I said, but you could have asked me, well, Lydia, how do you come to such a strange viewpoint or whatever? You could have asked me some question instead of just throwing me out. And well, the instructor said, well, I'm sorry about that. And actually, he got tears in his eyes, so I was a little moved by that, because I thought, well, yeah, okay. I came on quite strong, actually, because, well, I was mad, of course. And he also was relieved, because I said, well, when I stepped out of my seat, I said, well, I will see you in the office, I guess. Because I assume, because we have to write about these things, if things like this happen, I thought, well, he's an instructor, he's going to write about this. So I thought, well, I will see you in the office, I guess. Yeah, that's the most natural thing for me to assume. And then afterwards, when we landed, he said, well, are you going to write about this? I said, well, I am not. I mean,
and when you mean write about it, you mean our term would be like filing a report.
Yeah. Okay. File a report.
So at this point, you're thinking of filing a report against your co-pilots, your fellow pilots for.
Well, he thought I was going to do that, because that's what I said when I stepped out of my seat earlier. I said, well, I think I'm going to see you then in the office.
Yeah.
Because I assumed, because he's the instructor, that he would, he was the one who was, trashing me. So I thought, well, he will probably write about it. So after the landing, I said, well, he asked, he was scared. He said, are you going to write about it? I said, well, no, I'm not going to write about it, but I'm going to go straight to the doctor's office from the company, and I'm going to ask for some support in this. So he was really relieved. He said, well, I'm not going to write about it either. I said, well, do whatever you please.
So both of you mutually agreed not to file a report on each other about an argument that had to do with flat Earth. Probably a good thing at the time.
Yeah.
But then your follow-up was, and just so I can, because I'm reading your email here, you went to the company physician, the company doctor, and you have more or less did you request to them? You said, look, I don't think I should fly anymore because I don't believe the Earth is a globe.
Well, actually, I called in sick.
Okay.
And I made an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to the doctor because I thought, well, I have all the evidence there is. So what's... Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you're medically insane. You're just going to, but who else could you go to? Because I don't imagine you have a company psychiatrist, which is what most people would recommend, or do you?
He said he didn't even, because I started to explain to him how I got to the point of thinking flat Earth, because it needs a little bit of an introduction, I guess.
Oh yeah, you can't just come out and say it because they won't even understand. It'd be like, mean like metaphorically, or what are we talking about here? So you explained to him your belief system and why you think the Earth is flat, and his response was,
okay, Lydia, I'm going to send you to the psychiatrist.
Yep, I was waiting for that.
Yeah, I will hold your medical license. And you cannot fly for now. So
technically, are you still working for the company?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you been? You haven't been suspended without pay or anything like that?
No. That's not the thing they would
But did you request that you didn't want to fly anymore, or did they say you shouldn't fly anymore? And I mean, obviously you're not flying at the moment. No,
I said I cannot fly at this moment because I'm tired of all the lying.
Okay.
And I'm just exhausted, and I'm, I feel humiliated and everything, and I think we should look into this. I mean,
when was this? When was it?
All in this, but they just don't. They're not open-minded.
Oh,
people.
Hey, look, pilots are. It's a tough. I mean, I've talked to a handful of pilots already, but this is got to be one of my favorite stories, because when did this happen?
This happened in March.
And did you, after that, did you see a psychiatrist? The company psychiatrist?
Yeah, I had to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And?
They made me. So I went. I had to go 2 times.
Okay.
And the first time, the psychiatrist explained that I had a right, a recht van aanhouden, and that means that you don't, you get the last say in whether the report goes to your company or not.
Oh, I got it. You get the closing remarks. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can say, okay, I can read the report, and if I'm not,
happy with it?
Yeah, happy with it. Then I can say, well, no, don't send it.
Oh, really? That's way more flexible than what we have over here. Seriously, a psychiatrist could literally put you in a jacket and lock you in a room, and you wouldn't have much of an opinion.
So I sat there, and I wanted to, explain a little bit how I came where I am, and he was not interested. He said, well, no, I don't want to hear all those things. I just want you, because, with my son and everything, it's kind of a long story, but, I wanted to explain to him how I got where I am, and he just was not interested. He said, no, I want to hear you about the flat Earth. And I said, well, because I brought all the books and, all my iPad with every thing I found. It's about 4,000.
Oh my Lord! So you were actually going to try to convince the psychiatrist that the Earth was flat?
Well, yeah, I know. A friend of mine. He's a coach. He said, "Well, Lydia, you are being a little bit naive in trying to convince this guy."
Not naive, but you got to remember that as a psychiatric professional, there is no way that even if they wanted to, even if they believed you, there's no way they could nod their head and say, "All right, you're absolutely true. It's true, Lydia. It's absolutely true." There's no way they can, because once they did that, if that got out, their career would be over. I mean, they would literally be ostracized by their peer groups, and so. But anyway, so you tried
but
anyway.
I'm choosing that path, so I think, well, why aren't men a little bit more courageous? I think I'm always more courageous than everybody I meet. It's just, I don't know. I don't understand. But
that's okay.
I mean, yeah. Maybe I'm not that, I mean, I just moved to a real nice house and everything, and I thought, well, I might have to say goodbye to this within a year because I don't know what's going to happen.
Sure.
But okay, I'm fine with that. I mean, who cares?
You are a brave person, Lydia. There's a lot of people that wouldn't have. But at the same time, you're in a unique position because pilots, they deal with that perspective all the time. Most pilots, just so I can give you a little background here, most pilots don't know what to do with the information even when they get it because of their conditioning. So yeah, when you're in the cockpit at 40,000 feet, you see a flat horizon. You see it every single day you fly. But since you are taught, since you were a child, that it's a globe, there's this weird conflict that happens. It's like, well, it's a globe because I'm told it's a globe, but I only see flat. So, you know what? I'm just going to land the plane and try to live my life as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Most pilots I've heard are just too busy, to be honest, with all the different checks they have to do. And I know there's big sections of it where you're really, really bored because the plane can fly itself. But still, so you went to the psychiatrist a couple times. Did you like the report he wrote, or did you not?
Well, the second time that I went, he said, well, Lydia, you don't even have to start talking because I'm not interested. I think you know where this is going. I said, well, yeah. He said, well, I will, I think it's called delusional or something like that in English. We have another name for that in Dutch. So I said, well, okay. You didn't even have a glance at anything I'm here for, and nope. I said, well, nope. I am aware of conspiracy theories, he said. And he said that chuckling, so he was laughing. And I thought, okay, well, whatever. So I was actually pissed. And I went home. And while I was in the train, because it was a train ride of about 2 hours, I thought, you know what, I'm not gonna even wait for the report, because what's going to be in there? Nothing that I need to know.
Right.
So I emailed him right away when I got home. I said, well, dear Mr. Huppeldepup, I don't need your report. Don't even bother writing it, because I'm gonna, You're gonna
veto it, basically. You're gonna say, you know what, I don't care whatever you say, I'm not gonna like it. So, and again, I'm amazed that the Netherlands has that sort of flexibility, where it's like, where the individual can actually override the doctor's report. That's stunning. But it worked out for you. So you said, okay, so then what? So you go back to work? So at that point?
No, because they have my medical license, on hold or whatever.
So technically you're on medical, we call it medical leave. You're currently, at that time, you were on the ground, not getting up in a plane again because they said there's a medical issue.
Yeah, correct. Okay. That's still the case. And now I'm working on the ground because they say, well, you cannot go into the cockpit, but I think you can do some other work. Can you just cut that one out, because I don't want the company name.
Got it. I will not say your company name. I'll cut that little part out. So they benched you. We call it benching it, or grounding you. So they grounded you, but they didn't want to fire you because you were too valuable, because you've been doing the airline industry things for the last 20-something years.
Yeah, that's not the way they go about. They just don't fire you like that. I mean,
right. So does it take
they will help me find, some other profession for about that.
Yeah, you're not. By the way, don't keep saying that name, or
oh yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry.
So, no. That's all right. I mean, in the Netherlands, just so I'm sure about this, and I've seen this in different corporations in the United States, usually the big ones. They don't like firing people because it's a pain for HR, human resources, doesn't like dealing with it, so they'll shuffle you off to a different department. So you haven't flown since March.
Correct.
Do you have any anticipation that you will be flying?
I don't think so.
Now, is that a voluntary thing? Have you been pushing it, or are you like happy with your desk job and you're like, I'll just take the desk job for now?
I am currently, because they allowed me to look for a job that, fits my, let's say, needs at this moment. So I found a job where I can meet all kinds of people, but colleagues. And they asked me, why are you not flying? So now I have an opportunity to say, well, I have different beliefs than most people, So actually, I'm figuring things out, and actually, I want to wear T-shirts, with flat earth on it, and just to go to my ground job and spread the word.
Wow. You are one of the bravest people I have ever met. I mean that. So now, because you're grounded, you're now doing the ground jobs in the airline industry. People ask you, because once they figure out who you are, it's like, wait, why aren't you flying? You tell them?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I'm not flying because of, and you probably describe what's happened to you over the last 6 months here. So you've been in Flat Earth now for, less than a year officially?
Yeah, less than a year.
Less than a year.
November, yeah.
You've watched a whole ton of videos and read a whole bunch of web pages. And you probably talk, it doesn't sound obviously like you're shy about talking about this with people. For you as a pilot, or in this case, a grounded pilot, what was but you flew for a lot of years. What was the biggest thing for you? Because everybody, I could talk to 20 different Flat Earth community members, and they'd all have a different answer to this, which is, what is the one thing that flipped in your head where you were, half asleep on the couch? It's like, holy smokes, that's it. Was
the gyroscopes. It's just the gyroscopes, because I thought, well, it cannot work on a globe.
No, can't. Because
and also the speed of sound at the equator. Those two things.
Yeah. So basically the Coriolis effect. You're not adjusting the flight path for the Coriolis effect, and you guys are going from north to south a lot. Yeah. And in fact, you were saying you were flying to Johannesburg from the Netherlands?
Well, before I flew the 737, I flew the MD-11. So then we went to Kenya, not to Johannesburg. That was just an example that I gave you, but I've never been there.
But Kenya's fine. That'll work.
Yeah. So
somewhere in the middle of Africa, you guys are flying from the Netherlands, and not only did you not have to, because that's a question. In fact, I might as well ask you this, since we have a hard time asking pilots. There's a whole bunch of videos out there where people are trying to ask pilots when you know how the gyroscope works, and you know how the curvature of the Earth works. So from a pilot standpoint, do you ever see any instruments, or do you have to set anything in the cockpit that constantly adjusts for the 8 inches per mile squared? Or every 50 miles you would have to adjust about 1,700 feet?
No, nothing.
Never? No.
No, never. The only thing is that I was thinking about, but I also saw that I cannot find it anymore. That's really a pity. But we have this inertial reference system, and it has really advanced gyros, the laser ring gyros, and it has accelerometers on it. And you can, when something goes wrong with that system, you can reset it and you can have the heading back.
Yeah.
But then again, I saw this video on YouTube that a guy asked the company, I think it was Honeywell or something, about resetting and putting the right coordinates in. And this guy said, well, it doesn't really matter. don't put anything.
Yeah. In fact, I know that one because that was a 777 pilot. I read that one. That was me.
Okay.
Where the 777 pilot.
Okay, so I saw it with you. Yeah.
Yeah. He messaged me and he said the gyroscope compensator that's below the gyroscope is made by a particular company, and this company supplies everybody, and it's a NASA subcontractor, and he went to an airport and it broke, because pieces break every once in a while, and it broke, and they asked for he asked for a replacement before he could take off, and they said, you know what, just compensate for it manually. And just because he knew what about flat Earth, he decided to ignore that and just make note of it. And when he was flying, and he basically took a 6-hour trip, and he never had to. And he took notes of what the degree should be, but he never compensated for it. And so then he was going, okay, what does this thing actually do? If I didn't have to, I just flew 6 hours and it wasn't even working. Yeah. The thing that got me was when he called the company. Pilots, as you may know, are considered very, very wonderful people in the airline industry. So they can go to airline companies. They could walk into Boeing, and Boeing is like, let's give you the tour. They wouldn't even talk to this guy. They were like, it was like very, very close-lipped about what these gyroscope compensators would even do. And so, and this is a 777 guy that really wanted to. He's still flying. But he's going, I don't know what's going on out there, but there are companies involved that they may not know exactly what's happening, but they're up to no good. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Wow. So let me ask you a couple of other quick questions, and then you can ask whatever you want. Which is just for the record, when you were looking out through the cockpit before you got into flat Earth, did you even think about the curve, or was it just one of those things that was in the back of your head? And then when you found out about flat Earth, did you look out the window differently?
Actually, I never thought about the curve. Never. Maybe that's strange, but I really
no,
didn't.
Why would you, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Now I think it's strange, but...
But then when you got into it, when you were looking out the window, did it look completely different to you? It was like, holy smokes.
Yeah. Then I saw how flat it was, and I thought, well, that's kind of strange that it never appeared to me like that.
Yeah. Couldn't see. We have a saying here, I don't know if it's the same over there, which is you couldn't see the forest for the trees. You just could not. It was like, didn't even occur to you. You looked out that window all the time for 20-something years.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, you think it's flat out there? You see it's flat? It is flat. And you're like, what? No. Yeah. Couldn't be. So you're working half-time now. You're working on the ground. I don't know what it's like in the Netherlands. Are you just planning on staying with this company who shall not be named until retirement? Or are you just? I mean, I don't know what your plans are. Are you going to go to, for example, the London is having a Flat Earth conference coming up in April. Are you going to?
Yeah, I went here. We had one the other day in the Netherlands.
Oh, right. How'd that go?
Yeah, it was nice because Mike Cavanaugh, you know him?
I've heard of him.
So he was there and doing his presentation on the, let's say, the path of the sun.
Nice.
In some sort of a tourist field, because his dad, he is an astronomer, and he is a retired astronomer, but he has all the equipment, and he can use that, to investigate.
Nice.
So I got to ask him how his relation was with his dad, because I'm a really family kind of person. So I thought, well, how is it going to be for him? Because he's such a flat earther and his father is an astronomer. So
that's got to be tricky.
How's this relationship going to these between these people? But he said, well, they agreed to disagree.
Sure.
So,
and I've seen that with other people too. Yeah, if you're into astronomy, not just if you have like a master's degree in astronomy or astrophysics, but if you're even an amateur astronomer, this is a tough pill to swallow, because they don't. It's like, look, I mean, I had a guy, he could not get out of the loop. He was going, look, I've seen the moons of Jupiter through my telescope. I go, and I give him my explanation. It's like, look, you're looking at a display system, right? And then he'd go, no, I've seen the rings of Saturn. I'm going, same argument. It's like, no, I've seen. I go, dude, you can list off 20 different things. It doesn't. You're talking about the same thing, basically. You're looking at the sky and you think it's real. And, you think it's this vast, vast thing. I don't want to keep you too much. I know you're calling from the Netherlands.
It's almost 12 o'clock. I was ready to go to bed.
It's totally cool.
I read your email.
I'm glad. I'm sorry. I completely forgot about the time zone difference because it's only 3 o'clock in the afternoon here. And do you have any questions for me? Anything? Well, you got me. I mean, not many people get to catch me on the phone. Do you have any questions for me? Anything you want to ask?
What is the thing that I can do, to contribute? Because there are already a lot of things out there, and to do, again, the same things that everybody else does is not very helpful. But
in your case, I can tell you exactly how you can contribute. Tell your story. I think it's a great story. 737 pilot gets grounded for speaking out on flat Earth. That's the headline right there. You've got a unique perspective there. We don't have a whole bunch of pilots that are involved, but the fact that you were involved, spoke your mind, and they did exactly what I would expect them to do. And in fact, if it was in the United States, they'd probably take it even a little further. In the United States would be like, yeah, you probably should go to another company. But Netherlands, a lot more lax from what I can tell. But no, just do what you're doing. You don't have to do anything special. I mean, everyone's got their own cast. Everyone's got their own role to play in this. And yours is just taking your career that you have had up until this point and applying it. And again, I love the fact that you want to wear a T-shirt to work, a flat Earth T-shirt to work. That would be awesome. But I can't thank you enough for reaching out. That's great.
Well, thank you for making time and hearing my story.
Happy to do it. Well, no, I'm glad that you reached out, and the community, I'm sure we will track. We will grab what you've got going, and we will follow you as long as we can.
Okay, and great. Thank you very much.
Hey, you have a good
Keep up
good
the
night.
Work. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
Day.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.